So in this video, I wanted to do a quick experiment, which was testing out this Platinum fountain pen cartridge. This cartridge, I would judge it to be somewhere between, I don't know, maybe 20 and 40 years old. It's hard to tell exactly how old it is because there's no date or anything like that on it. If you look up the design online, you can't really get too far. There's an ID back here. Was it from 1984? I don't know. Is it just like number 840,815? Really hard to tell. It's not something that you could easily figure out. The refill came in a pen I purchased, which is this one right here. This is a Platinum B-line. It's a pen that was made, I believe, primarily in the 80s, maybe perhaps into the 90s. It's very hard to tell. The history of this pen is not really clear, but the B-line is very interesting design. I have a few of them, which was also sold as a ballpoint, a mechanical pencil, and a rollerball. And it's a great line. It is very much of its age. You could see it has a design now that looks very, to me, very 80s. Maybe it's very 90s, hard to say, but it's definitely not of today. Tiny nib, very thin body, extremely uniform. No real concessions made to it being held at any point by a human hand. Just a straight column, very simple. So I bought this used or new in box. It's hard to recall, but it came surprisingly with what I deemed to be an original cartridge in the original box, which is a fun little artifact. I have not used it, as you could probably tell. Here's the cartridges. I guess there's two in here. Here are the cartridges. You see it says Platinum, Blue Black, 84. Again, is that from 1984? I don't know, hard to say. The fact that it matches the box with the 84 makes me think maybe it's 1984, but again, I don't want to like say that like, I know that for sure. But it seems to be fully sealed and ready to go. The design is unchanged with the Platinum cartridge, so this thing should be ready to write. Fountain pen ink is interesting, just a quick aside, because it's largely water-based, and the way you store a fountain pen ink in a pen, it means that it's not perfectly sealed. So some air will get in there. You'll have some evaporation where the dye will stay, but the water will go away. So again, it's largely water-based. The water is, and it's a watery ink. It's pretty easy for the water to evaporate away, rather. The water evaporates, again, even through a pretty well-sealed cap, it'll evaporate, and you're left with this sort of mess right here. That didn't seem to happen with these cartridges. They seem to be well-sealed. I think I could almost make out some bubbles. Yeah, you can see some bubble type movement. It seems to be well-sealed. So my guess is they're ready to go. It doesn't look like this, where this was a pen I forgot in the back of the desk, and after maybe 2-3 months, it got completely dried out. This one doesn't have a very good cap seal. One of the funny things about Platinum is that in a pen like this is the 3776 Century, Platinum has made designs within the cap so that the cap stays very well sealed on the pen. So if you unscrew it, your 3776 Century or other Platinums are designed to be good to write, even if you haven't used the pen for up to a year, they say. And I've left this pen or other Platinums for weeks at a time, started writing, had no problems whatsoever. I use this 3776 Century a lot, so I can't really say I've ever left it for a year, but I've heard pretty good stories about how well these things will stay sealed. So, okay, so basically what we have here is we have just a quick writing sample from that 3776. I believe this is the Platinum Blue Black, which is what we'll be testing now. And now we have that cartridge, Platinum Blue Black. This is a Platinum fountain pen, as you might suspect. And this is called the Cool, I think, something like that. And let's give it a go. That seems to have worked. We see some ink saturation happening here. This is a pen that I've had some time, so and it's relatively easy to clean, and these aren't that expensive, so I'm not really worried about the ink, being like completely turned into some sort of glue and ruining the pen. But if it does, you could take this pen apart really well. You can see the threading here. Maybe you can't. You could see there's threading here to open up, but there's also threading here. So this is a pen that you could really easily take apart and clean out right there. And it'll just take this little metal piece out. Okay, should be ready to go, or hopefully it's ready to go. Not quite. We'll give it another minute. I'll give it a quick shake. I think I'm gonna give this cartridge a little squeeze. Obviously, sometimes this takes some time. We're saturating that feed, and really the best thing to do is just kind of walk away, go have a cup of coffee, come back in a little bit. But we'll see if we can get it going. Not quite. I'm going to give this one a few minutes to do its work. Okay, so it's a few minutes later, and it seems to be about ready to go. Haven't really done anything aside from squeeze that cartridge a little bit, and then just apply some pressure to the nib. And yeah, so it's writing now. It seems to be ready to go. So this is the Platinum. We'll call this the Cool. I forgot the exact name of the pen. And this is the 84 blue black. So the ink seems to be writing quite well. I'm not really having any problems with this at all. Seems to be flowing. The color seems to be pretty good for a blue black. Maybe a little off. Looks like it's turned maybe a little greenish almost. It's a little hard to tell. But the color seems pretty close to where it should be. Not having any flow issues. It's drying relatively quickly. And yeah, no real problems here. Here is that Platinum Blue for record. Clearly different ink colors, but you could see the saturation level and just kind of the different qualities of how they're writing. But it seems like this ink, which I would guess if I had to, absolutely had to put a number on it, I would say it's about 38 years old. It seems to be writing. If that is not the actual date, then it would be somewhere in the 90s, putting at, 25 plus years old. But the cartridge seems to have sealed properly and to be working very well. I guess on the plus side, really nice work. Platinum, your cartridges are sealed very well. Your plastic technology is exceptional. On the downside is we waited 40 years and the cartridge writes no differently than it did. It's not like a wine where it ages and actually improves over time. You just get a product that is very long lasting and very shelf stable. So yeah, interesting experiment, but at the end of the day, we just have a very solid refill.